You know, I've been accused of being an armchair intellectual. Once, that was once, and there are other points where people have just said things to a similar effect to me. I want to just talk about the role of an intellectual. Now, being an intellectual, I mean, I don't actually think of myself as an intellectual at all. I'm not studious, I'm not academic, I'm quite a hands-on person, ultimately. I'm from a lower working class family. My family are mechanics and lorry drivers, and I reflect that in a way. I'm a bit of a black sheep, but I'm not a born and bred intellectual. I know I have friends in real life who are intellectuals who've been to like one of my mates went on to university to be a journalist. I don't like him. Well, I don't fucking hell. I don't dislike him as a person, but I don't have anything in common with him. I think he's a, a soppy, creamy bourgeois pansy, and I very much dislike people who are like that. Um, it's just typical English kind of proletarianism. I have an instinctive dislike for the upper and middle classes, although I try and conceal it. Well, no, that's not so much. Yeah, I have an instinctive dislike and distrust. However, if I can respect them, I do it almost blindly. Um, I have some friends nowadays who are very cultured and intelligent, and I never question them. So again, that's just very English of me. Obey your superiors and all the rest of it. Um, but yeah, only if they're worth obeying. That's a very English. But the point is, an intellectual type. I mean, what do I do? I make videos. I organize podcasts. I do a lot of talking. I do a lot of speaking. I mean, reading. I do a lot of talking. I do a lot of reading, and writing. I write a lot. Now, why am I doing all this? I'm doing it to create a community. Well, there are actually no, there are multiple reasons why I'm doing it. The first reason I'm doing it, and the reason why I tried to justify it to myself when I first began doing it, because I didn't feel comfortable, it felt egotistical, um, was that it's a documentation of my learning process, and that's exactly what it is. And that's exactly what I'm doing. It's so I can look back, and people can look back over years from now and kind of understand how things happened. With me personally, I can do it as well. It might serve as an interesting object lesson. It's an exhibition to a degree. Hence this video. But I'm also doing it because it creates a community. Um, you have this kind of online sphere which disseminates media and information and entertainment, and I'm part of that. My efforts contribute to that broader sphere, and people get something out of it. They consider what I do to be worthwhile, whether it's informative, entertaining, or educational. I have a vantage point because I read a lot, and I might have read things other people haven't read, or don't have the time to read, for example. Or I might be more intelligent than other people, therefore I can articulate things more concisely. I can conceive of things which are more abstract and more nuanced and get to the heart of matters regarding philosophy, politics, and the rest. That if that's the way it is, that's the way it is, and I'm happy to share that with people. People have consistently come to me and said, "I appreciate what you're doing. Please continue." It's reinforcement in a way, and it does kind of justify it. Like I've said, and I've said many times, I'm not an extrovert. I don't like attention. I don't like crowds of people. I feel like actually get anxious around crowds of people, like in town. Um, if I'm just by myself, unless I have something to distract me. I'm not a people person. I have good social skills because I'm self-confident, but I'm not a people person by any means. So I'm not doing this totally for other people. It is partly for myself. But I think that's good because if it was totally reliant upon other people, then it would be insincere, wouldn't it? It would be kind of fake and forced, then I would feel an obligation. I don't really feel an obligation. I feel an obligation to myself to do it. I feel like I should. This is in a society. This is my role. I would be one of the people writing the books, teaching people. Like that would be my role. I mean, I've said to people, I would like to become a soldier. I would have liked to gone into the military, but I can't do that because of my physicality. And also, there's something psychological which happened, and that's an inhibitor. But beyond that, I can't. So I have to do other things. I have to externalize and kind of impose myself on the world in another way, and this is how I'm doing it. That's kind of all it is. But as for accusations of being an armchair intellectual, I fucking meet up with people, and I want to meet up with people and do things and and start groups and all that sort of thing. I wouldn't march, I wouldn't do street demonstrations because of my physicality. Again, it would be inappropriate. That isn't my place. That would be lunacy. It would look terrible, and that's why. But my role, my purpose from a social perspective is as a thinker, as an artist to a degree, to some extent. I'm a creator. My pool of influence and inspiration is within my own self, and also how I understand the external world. It all comes through the filter of myself, and is projected outwards. And that means something to other people. Other people value it. And it also adds value to a society. You have to have thinkers. You have to have people who write the books, who write the articles, who disseminate information, and the rest. That's what I'm doing. That isn't going to be for everyone. Not everyone's going to do that. That's fine. It would be ridiculous to expect everyone to be an activist, or everyone to be a writer, or everyone to just kind of be a layman who just kind of absorbs all the information. You know, not everyone is a worker, not everyone is a warrior, all the rest. It's lunacy to assert so. But yeah, that's kind of how I'd respond to that accusation. Armchair intellectual. I mean, it's so interesting what that implies. I don't have an armchair, unfortunately. But I think if what I was doing was totally worthless, and if I was wrong on everything, and if people didn't appreciate my input on things, I would fucking know by now. Thus far, going on nearly 2 years of doing this, I've had literally a handful of people actually naysay me. Maybe about 5 or 6 so far. As in, and that's like particular instances I can single out. So that's quite a good track record, considering I'm going on 1,000 subscribers on my main channel now, and even on this channel, 200 subs in a couple of weeks, and I don't tell anyone about this channel. So there you go. Yeah, people. I don't know how people get to this channel. It must come up in people's liked lists and so on. But anyway, there you go. If what I was doing was innately worthless, it would be reflected not only on in my own. I think I would be aware, but I think other people would tell me. They'd let me know. At least I fucking hope they would. You know, again, it's one of these things as to why it's a documentation. If I'm wrong about something, I can be told. And that's the beauty of the internet and the alt-right in this community on the internet. If you're wrong about something, you can get called out for it, and you can be corrected. And I like that. That's a good thing, rather than just being in my own mind all the time, in my own echo chamber. So yeah, nearly 10 minutes now, talking about people calling me armchair intellectual and all the rest of it. I could go on about it. It's mostly entertaining, actually. the worst thing. I mean, at least people have actually done these things directly. They've said it to me, not behind my back, which is cool. If people do it behind my back, that just annoys me. But if people actually do it directly and actually insult me like personally, then you go ahead. But as long as it's valid. Just to recap, I'm not an armchair intellectual. I don't just sit around and give everyone my opinions all the time. It's a bit more complicated than that. I listen to other people. What I do regarding like West Coast reactionaries, it's a kind of community hub now for various people to kind of interact through and share their views and so on. So it works as a kind of intellectual catalyst for not just myself, but for many hundreds of people. Same with my YouTube videos and the like. There's a reason why with the Plebeian podcast it's not just me talking. There are other people who are with me who are very intelligent, and I'm fucking lucky that I've got these great people together to help me do this. And it isn't just me, I organise these things. But again, it's a communal thing. Any change in society, which is what the alt-right reflects, doesn't cause, it's a consequence, will have its accretions in politics, culture, and media, and broader society. And the alt-right is a reflection of that, and you will have various parts within that vortex, which are more catered to intellectuals, which are more catered to people who are like activists, people who are actually thinking about going into politics, people who are artists, people who do different things because we're all fucking different for fuck's sake. And we aren't all going to contribute in the same way. So yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous, this assertion that everyone can be like a national action activist. It's nonsense. It's not true. That isn't everyone's place. Anyway, I'll shut up now. Thank you for listening.